Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm going to be doing a Tenyi deck profile. So I'm excited for this one because we just got a new Link monster with the new Link 4 Tenyi monster. But this card is absolutely crazy cool, and it has a really neat effect that we're going to get into just in a little bit. But this deck's a really cool deck that basically revolves around special summoning monsters to your side of the field if you control no effect monsters, which a bunch of the Link monsters are not effect monsters, to be able to go into and swarm in the field with all sorts of Tenyi spirits. But without further ado guys, let's get straight on this. But before we do, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon and the Ko-Fi down in the description. If you guys do donate to the Patreon, we do have some really cool rewards that you guys should totally check out. So let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of the Dark Tenyi Spirit. So basically what this card does is, Vishuda's effect is that if you control, all of your Tenyis share this ability. That if you control no effect monsters, that you can special summon this card from your hand. And if you control a face-up non-effect monster, you can banish this card from your hand or graveyard and then activate this particular ability. All of them just about share that ability. So this one's particular effect is, Vishuda's particular effect is that you can target a card on your opponent controls and return that target to the hand by banishing the card from your hand or your graveyard, which is a super cool effect to be able to start your turn with, be able to special summon this card, link it away for the Tenyi Monk, and then immediately go and bounce something on your opponent's side of the field. Then we play 3 of the Light Tenyi Spirit, which is a really neat Tenyi monster that has the ability that you can banish this card from your hand or graveyard, special summon a Tenyi monster from your deck, any Tenyi monster directly from your deck, which is a super cool ability to just immediately grab out any of your Tenyi spirits that you might need quickly, like your tuner or something like that, to be able to go into different monsters. Which is a really cool effect, but you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except worm monsters. Then we play 3 copies of the Tenyi Spirit of Admahara. This card's a really cool. It's the tuner monster, and basically has the ability, it's a level 1 tuner monster, which is really cool for the deck to be able to go into synchro plays as well. We only go into a level 8 synchro plays, and I think we go into a level 7 synchro play as well, which is really easy to go into. But it has the abilities that you can target one of your banished Tenyi or one of your banished worm monsters and add it back to your hand, and you can only use its effect once per turn. Really easy card to use, a really cool card to use, and it's cool that it's a level 1 tuner. Then we play 3 copies of the Water Tenyi Spirit. This card's effect is really neat. I bumped this card up to 3 because I realized in the last deck profile that I made of this deck that it's just such a good card that you really just want it as a 3 of in this deck, opposed to having it as a 2 of. But this card's really neat because if a face-up non-effect monster you control is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard, destroy one monster, destroy one of those monsters, and then special summon it. Then you can destroy one monster your opponent controls. So you special summon the monster that they destroyed, and then immediately put your monster back on board that they destroyed, which is really cool. We play 2 copies of the Tenyi Spirit Nahata. Nahata is really cool because it has a boost effect, which is pretty cool, or a reduction effect for your opponent's monsters. I always think it's the boost, but it's actually reduction. But basically it has the effect of when an attack is declared involving your face-up non-effect monster and an opponent's face-up monster, you can banish this card from your hand or graveyard, and then the opponent's monster loses 1500 attack, which is really neat to be able to just instantly nerf an opponent's monster by 1500. Then we play 3 copies of Mapura, which is really cool as well. Just 2 copies of it, because basically what you do is you banish it from your graveyard, and then you can quick effect when your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a non-effect monster you control, you can quick effect banish this card from your hand or graveyard, negate the activation if you destroy that target, which is really a good effect to be able to just immediately protect one of your monsters and destroy a card your opponent controls. Just a single copy of Mare. The Mare really help out because you can go for a copy of your Yazi or something like that with this card, or Yazi can special summon it, which is really cool to be able to go into. It's just an overall really good card that you just get to put a bunch of tokens on the field and link away the tokens for your other monsters that you might need. 3 copies of Ash Blossom is the last 3 monsters to round out the deck, because you just want to stop your opponent from doing all sorts of crazy stuff, and so you play the Ash Blossoms to kind of put your opponent in check. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Call by the Grave. The 3 copies of Call by the Grave really help out in this deck because you really don't want to deal with your opponent banishing or your opponent dealing with like your stuff that's in the graveyard by like hand trapping it or something like that. You want to be able to resolve your Tenyi spirits or special summon them from deck or whatever you need to do, so you play this card. One copy of Scapegoats because they count as just normal monsters, which is really cool, and then you can special summon to your side of the field. But you can't tribute summon them, but that's not that big of a deal. You're usually just going to use them as linked materials. It's a good one of in here, and not a lot of people play Scapegoats anymore, but it's still a really good one of, like crazy good one of. One copy of Pot of Avarice. Sometimes you will need this for, I know this card's at 3, but you only need it at 1 in this deck, because the only thing that you're shuffling back is your Tenyi Monks from your like graveyard back into your deck, or your extra deck. But basically this card's used to, it's basically used to shuffle back your hand traps and your like copies of like the link monsters and stuff like that to be able to get them straight back into the deck, which is really, really cool and really fun. One copy of Pot of Desires. You really only need one copy of this. I almost don't want to play this card in the deck, but you play like 3 of everything, so it's not that big of a deal to banish 10 and then draw 2. So it's just a good one of to me. I would never play this card any more than 1 in this deck, but it's just a good like surprise one of, or at least to bait your opponent out for 1 card. Bait them out for like an Ash Blossom, and then you hit it with a Call by the Grave, but it's a good bait card as well. 1 copy of Foolish Burial because it triggers, like you can banish any of your Tenyi monsters if you control a non-effect monster. If you don't control effect monsters, you can send one to the graveyard and banish it. With the Light Tenyi Spirit, you can just banish it and special summon a Tenyi from deck, which is cool. 1 copy of 1 for 1 because it gets our tuner monster out of the deck quickly. 1 copy of Terraforming. The Terraforming comes in super handy because it gets us Flawless Perfection of the Tenyi, which is the field spell, which is a really good field spell. And then I'm playing 2 of a tech card that I will reveal to you guys after you guess it down below. So definitely guess down below, comment down below, tell me what you think this card is. It's a really neat tech card that I'm testing. I don't know how I feel about it yet, but it's a neat tech card that I'm going to reveal to you guys in 3, 2, 1. Definitely comment down below and tell me what you think it is. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell in there so you can come part of the notification squad. So this card that I am playing as a 2 of is 2 copies of Hollow Giants. So you guys are looking at this card and you're probably like, what? But this card is a TCG exclusive card that came out in Duel Overload. And basically what this card does is it was made for Tenyis. Like, it was just made for Tenyis. It activates this card only if both players control a monster that was special summoned from the extra deck. Negate the effects of all face-up monsters special summoned from the extra deck. And if a monster is destroyed by battle involving 2 monsters that were special summoned from the extra deck, send this card to the graveyard. And also, the players who controlled the destroyed monster takes an additional 1,000 points of damage. Which is really cool because it just negates the effects of all monsters that were special summoned from the extra deck. Which is really cool. Like, it's really, really good, but they have to control a monster already that was special summoned from the extra deck. But it can shut down entire boards if you just have a copy of, like, your copy of Monk. You can just activate this and then negate all the other cards. Like, if they have Borload Savage, they have Appaloosa, stuff like that, they're gonna hit this card quickly. It's a good bait card, and it just stops your opponent from doing all sorts of stuff. The only deck that this works in is Tenyis, because you don't want to negate your monster's effects from the extra deck, because the majority of the stuff that we play don't have effects. They just don't have effects that you're worried about anyways. But for the rest of the cards we're playing in the deck, we're playing 3 copies of Vessel of the Dragon Cycle. This card basically sends a worm monster from your deck to the graveyard, and if you control a face-up non-effect monster, you can add a Tenyi from your deck to your hand as well, which is really cool to be able to have a Searcher and a Foolish Burial all at once. And then 2 copies of Flawless Perfection of the Tenyi. I still think this card is a good 2 of, because what it does is not all non-effect monsters on the field are unaffected by monster effects. And then once per turn, if your opponent special summons a monster from the extra deck, or special summons an effect monster while you control a face-down monster or non-effect monster, then you immediately get to draw 2 cards, which is really cool. I really like that effect, being able to just net 2 cards really quickly. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to be playing just 2 copies of Waterfall of Dragon Soul. The Waterfall of Dragon Soul is really cool because you can just activate this card and then add a worm monster from your deck to your hand, or send any number of worm monsters from your hand and or field to the graveyard, and then draw cards equal to the number of cards sent. So if you already know that you're going to resolve your Tenyi cards, like your Vishuddha and stuff like that, you can just send them from hand to graveyard and then activate their effects in grave, and then be able to draw extra cards. And then we play 3 copies of Fist of the Unrivaled Tenyi. Now, I will tell you, this card can actually summon me a 9,000 attack point monster, and you guys are not going to believe me until I show you the combo at the end of the video. So basically what this card does is when a spell trap or monster effect is activated while you control a non-effect monster, you can negate the activation. And then if this set card is destroyed by your opponent's card effect, you can special summon a non-effect monster from your extra deck, which I am a little bit famous for the card that I actually special summon from the extra deck. And if you have not ever watched this video of me doing a Tenyi deck profile, I will say you are going to be surprised at what I summon off this card. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck so I can actually show off what I summon with this card. And I'll show you at the end of the video what we summon off of that card shortly. So first off, we're going to be playing a single copy of the Link 4 Tenyi. You just need 1 copy of it. It takes a lot of commitment to go on this card, but when you do, it's well worth it, because while you control a face-up non-effect monster, monsters your opponent controls cannot target effect monsters for attacks, and also your opponent cannot target effect monsters on the field with card effects. And then quick effect, you can target 1 effect monster your opponent controls, and special summon a Tenyi Spirit token, Worm type, and then it's level 4, question mark, attack and 0 defense. And the token's attack becomes the targeted monster's original attack. So basically you can use this card to crash into your opponent's monsters, or use the token that you get to link summon it away for a copy of Monk, and then start link climbing again. 1 copy of Berserker. Berserker has no effect, and it just takes a link monster plus 2 other monsters to summon it. 1 copy of Draco Masters the Tenyi. It can't be destroyed by battle by an effect monster, which is super neat. And it also has the ability that you can destroy effect monsters your opponent controls up to the number of non-effect monsters you control and or in your graveyard, and you can only use the effect of it once per turn. 2 copies of Shaman. I just feel like 2 copies of Shaman is perfect for me in this deck. The arrows are perfect, but I dropped 1 copy out for something else that I'm playing in the deck to make 9,000 attack point monster, which you guys are going to see in just a second. This card lets you discard a card and then target a worm monster in your graveyard and special summon it. And it also has the ability that when an attack is declared involving a face-up non-effect monster, you can target 1 card your opponent controls and destroy it, which is super cool to be able to just pop something. 3 copies of Monk. I know this looks like it's overkill, but this card is the starter card of the deck, and you really need the 3 copies of it to be able to go into all your different plays. A single copy of Link Spider. The Link Spider is here for the Scapegoat tokens. Now, if you want to, you can drop 1 copy of the Monk for a copy of Mrs. Radiant if you want to go that route. If you feel like you're drawing into Scapegoats a lot in this deck, it is an option for you guys. 1 copy of Mekk-Knight Crusadia Avermax. The Avermax helps out because you can go into this card really, really easily in this deck, and it just helps you OTK your opponent a little bit easier. Number 60, Timeless, is a really good card because you can detach 2 materials from this card and then make a monster's attack points become double. That's a little hint for you guys. It also lets you detach a material from this card and then lets you special summon a monster from your graveyard, or it lets you draw 2 and then discard 1 by either skipping your draw phase of your next turn, skipping your main phase of your next turn, or skipping your battle phase of your next turn. Then we play a single copy of Draco Berserker of the Tenyi. This card is really good because when your opponent activates a monster's effect on the field, you can quick effect banish it. And then when it attacks an effect monster in battle and sends it to the graveyard, this card gains attack equal to the monster that was destroyed, and it can make a second attack during each battle phase. And you can only use the effects of this card once per turn. That's absolutely crazy because it doesn't lose the attack. It just stays big for no reason. 1 copy of Yazi. Yazi is a good extender in this deck, and basically lets it pops itself to be able to pop a card on your opponent's side of the field, and then let you special summon a worm monster, which is usually your Mare, to be able to go into your other plays, which is super cool to be able to do. 1 copy of Naturia Beast. Naturia Beast is really easy to go into in this deck because you just use a level 4 Earth monster and a level 4 non-Earth monster, so it's not super hard to go into in this deck. It's a really neat card to go into this deck, and it's just an overall fun card to go into in this deck. And then we play a single copy of the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, which is a really good, crazy card to go into in this deck. This card is absolutely crazy, and it's just such a good card. Now, the way that you go into this card is actually really neat. So the way you go into this card is you actually send your copy of Flawless Perfection to the Tenyi. If your opponent pops this, then you special summon this card. It basically punishes your opponent from stopping the counter trap. So I'm going to show you how you really quickly make this card go up to 9,000. So it's really simple for you guys to go into this card. So basically, all you have to do is have this card set, and your opponent destroys it with MST, Twin Twisters, anything. They destroy it with any card, and they don't know it's there, and they pop it, and you instantly says, hey, special summon a non-effect monster from your extra deck. Hey, Blue Eyes Ultimate. 4,500, biggest normal monster in the entire game. You just make it for free. And basically what you do with this card is after you put it on the field, what you do is if you have any 2 level 4 Tenyi monsters, we're going to say you got the water one, and we're going to say you got the fire one, okay? You special summon one of them, okay, and you normal summon the other. And then you overlay them both together, and you summon number 90, okay? And then after you summon number 90, you detach the materials from number 90, and you boost this up to 9,000, and then swing your opponent for 9,000 attack points. One shot and done. Kaiba would be proud. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you guys do want to, I don't make Nat Beast all that often because there's a side deck that I kind of use. You can use like Gene Warwolf to go into it a little easy, but you can swap it out for a Borreload Savage if you want to change it out, and it makes it a little bit easier to negate stuff, and it's really easy to go into Borreload Savage, so that is another option for you guys if you want to change that out. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think of this deck down in the comments down below. Definitely check out the Patreon so you guys can check out those really cool rewards that we have for anybody who becomes a patron. We have some really cool ones like requesting a deck profile every single month that you're a patron, getting your name in the description, getting sent a signed card, and all sorts of neat stuff that you guys can get. So anyways, guys, this is Dark Armed Duelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.